Hello, what's going on everybody? This is Jay from Maji and Jay. Today the purpose of this video is to review the Mlais M52 that I got from the website tinydeal.com. Tinydeal currently has this device for only $149, so this is extremely affordable for what we get inside of the phone. The design is not the most appealing, but I had to say that we can work around that according to the specifications. The first thing we got on this phone, which is very impressive, is the new MTK6752 Octacore. It is a 64-bit processor clocked at 1.7 gigahertz, and pretty soon we're going to get the OTA for Lollipop. Right now this is currently running the Android KitKat 4.4.4, which is the latest for KitKat. Also comes with 2 gigabytes of RAM and it has 16 gigabytes of internal storage. On the front here, we're going to have a 5.5-inch display. It is a 5-point multi-touch screen and it has a resolution of 1280 by 720 pixels. And it is also IPS OGS, so on viewing angles, it's going to give you great colors. On the top of the phone, we find here the 5 megapixel sensor camera, but it has been interpolated to be an 8, and that's going to be absolutely fake. We also got the proximity and light sensor on the left side of the ear speaker. On the right side of the ear speaker, we're going to have a notification LED light with the speaker itself. We can see here also the 4G logo. This is going to support, again, 4G LTE in certain countries, but not here in the USA, unfortunately. On the bottom, we're going to find here the menu key, the home key, and the back key. And as we can see, they're lighting up very nice and bright, and even on the daylight time, they're still noticeable. On the left side of the phone, we find the volume rockers, which they are very comfortable. You guys can see here that I can access them easily with just one hand. Something that I do prefer, because some phones or Chinese phones, they come with the buttons all in one place and it makes it a little bit confusing. So I do prefer this method quite a lot. On the top of the phone, we find here the charging/data port. This is also going to support OTG together with the 3.5mm headphone jack, which is working very well. On the right side of the phone, we find here a power button, and we can see that we don't have any buttons whatsoever. Everything is very plain. Then on the bottom, finally, we're going to have the microphone. Now on the back of the device, we're going to have a 13 megapixel sensor with autofocus. We have the LED flash. On the bottom of the device, we can see here the Mlais logo, and then the speaker here appears to be centralized, but it's going to be towards the left side of this grill. So you guys have to be extremely careful when you're holding it, because the sound may be decreasing if you hold it the wrong way. So make sure again that you guys are careful with that. And then also, if you open the back, we're going to find that inside here we're going to have a 3200 power milliamp battery, which is equivalent to the Samsung Galaxy Note 4. So I had a great experience with this battery. It appears to be quite thin, so I think that maybe the real specs is going to be about 2800 milliamps. But considering that we have the MTK6752 and only a 720p display, I had almost 2 days of usage, and that was playing games, using the GPS, camera tests, and so on. So this battery, I think, is impressive for what it is. Now taking a look at the back sticker here, we can notice the brand here. We got the model number, and these are the 4G LTE bands for this device. Unfortunately, here in the United States, we're not going to get 4G LTE. I really can't wait until we see that first device that supports 4G LTE, like the Zenfone 2 that I unboxed and reviewed not too long ago. But according to the price, we really can't complain, because the 3G is working quite well on this device, and we're going to see that later. Also, we can notice here that the build quality, guys, even though it's very nice and firm, these stickers here, which are antennas, they appear to be quite cheap. They look like just a piece of tape on there. And sometimes they tend to move, and when you pull out the case, sometimes they do bend a little bit, so make sure you guys are careful. So that was a little bit of a quality control, I would say. Now here, let's go ahead and also install the battery, but before we do that, we also got here the dual SIM dual standby capability, and supports TF cores up to 64 gigabytes. So now let's go ahead and install the battery here and boot up this baby. Unfortunately, on this device right now, we're not going to have the support for NFC, neither hot not. So again, guys, it is expected. Maybe that's one of the reasons as to why this phone is only $149. Now taking a look here at the front of the screen, what I do like about this phone so far is that when the screen is off, it's matching perfectly well with the remaining of the bezel, making it seem like one piece. And for those who know me, that's something that I do prefer on these Chinese devices. It makes it look very nice and premium. Now here, let's go ahead and boot it up and see what kind of boot logo we have, and it's going to be the Mlais logo. Now something that I didn't like about this phone is that, first of all, the bezels are extremely thick, as we can see here. This is not going to be a bezel-less phone whatsoever. It's very, very thick, and I think it makes it look a little bit ugly. It's something that I didn't prefer, at least on the design wise. Also, the back is made of polycarbonate, and then it has this soft, I would say, paint on it that makes it very slippery in the hand. So if you guys don't get a case, you might drop it, because it's very, very slippery, especially if your hands are sweaty. So just make sure that you guys are careful when you're handling this phone. Otherwise, you may drop it and break it, because it seems like the front is entirely made of glass. Now here we're going to go ahead and unlock the device, but on the lock screen, the first thing we're going to find is a very simplistic one. Let me see if I can just power it on here. There we go. And here we can find that we got the time, we got the date, and then we can only unlock the device. So this is going to be a clean version of the Android KitKat 4.4.4, which a lot of people prefer because it's actually very nice and snappy. Again, we do get 2 GB of RAM, so gaming wasn't an issue on this device, and also 16 GB of internal storage, in which in my case it was more than sufficient because I'm not putting a lot of photos on this device, but even if you do, you can always upgrade it with a TF card. Now here we're going to go ahead and check on settings, and we can see that the settings is going to be just the basic ones. We don't have any special features, only one, which is screen gestures. And then on screen gestures, it's going to be very similar to what we have seen many times before. We can launch the camera if we type the letter C on there. So let's go ahead and enable that, and then we can also swipe up to unlock the device. So now this is something that me personally, I didn't like too much because sometimes when you have it in your pocket, you tend to activate your phone. Sometimes you activate calls and so on. So for that reason, I decided to disable it. I do carry my phones in my pocket quite a lot. So here right now, guys, just to test it, I have activated the camera function. So you have to do is just lock the device. Once you lock the device, you go ahead and pretend as if you were typing here the letter C, and it's going to take you directly into the camera. So here, again, we can see that camera quality is very, very nice on this particular model, guys. I was impressed to see that, especially with the photo quality. The video quality is not so great on it. We're going to see that later on in the video, but for now, we're going to do some other tests. Here, just want to navigate you guys throughout the system first, and we can see that it came already pre-installed with the Play Store on there. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the only application that was installed there from Google was the YouTube application, and that's very simple. All I had to do was I logged into my Play Store, downloaded the YouTube application, and problem solved. We don't really need any rooting to complete that. And here we can see that I have downloaded quite some heavy gaming, I would say. I got here Modern Combat 5. I do have Allsport 8 around here. I have Riptide GP2, Real Racing 3. So here we can see, guys, that this phone can handle gaming very, very well. Here I'm also going to show you that this is a 5-point multi-touch screen, and it does work flawlessly. As we can see, I'm trying to put that 6 finger, and it won't allow me. Confirming that yes, it is a 5-point multi-touch screen, which is more than sufficient. Again, guys, here we can see that the soft touch keys on the bottom, they light up very nice and bright. So that was something that I did like, because I don't like when the buttons either glow or they're not there, because it makes it a little bit confusing, and they're working flawlessly. So here we can notice that they are very, very sensitive. So these are the good qualities about this phone. Also supports social media applications like Facebook, Skype, and so on, including Instagram. So on that behalf, you guys are going to be very satisfied. And now here, with that being said, the next thing we're going to be talking about here briefly is going to be the camera. The camera, we're going to check the video quality, and we're going to see that the overall focus is not that great. The colors appear to be, I would say the exposure appears to be a little bit too high, so it looks a little bit white on the background. So let's go ahead and check the next footage, and let me know what you guys think. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Jay, and now we got the Mlais M52 camera. This is the 13 megapixel on the rear. The quality seems very nice. I would say that the colors are a little bit more towards the bright side. It doesn't have optical image stabilization, so the video is going to be a little bit jumpy as you walk, as we can tell right here. But other than that, I think that the camera is functioning very well. On low light conditions, also it's going to look a little bit noisy, but most of us record on the daylight time for the most part. And of course, some pictures have been provided down below for those who want to check it out. And now let's test the front-facing camera. Alright, guys, so here we got the front-facing camera of the Mlais M52. Now this is a real 5 megapixel sensor. It's not going to be 8. That's only an interpolation, and like always on many Chinese phones, the camera does lack a lot of focus. The colors appear to be a little bit too dark. Now when it comes to pictures, it's going to do a lot better. Well, guys, there we saw the video test on this device, and as we can see, the video quality is not going to be among the best, but it's not the worst either, I have to say. I think that the colors are, or the exposure appears to be a little bit off on this device. So I really wish that maybe in the future we can get a software update that can fix the camera just a tiny little bit, but on the picture quality, it's going to do very, very well. On the top here, we can find some of the features that we have. You have beauty mode, panorama, and so on. It's just going to be a very basic camera, nothing to really, be impressed about, I would say. Here, when we go into settings, we go into photo quality. We can see that right now I have it at its max, which is 13 megapixels. On the other hand, the front-facing camera, even though it looks like it's the 8 megapixels, that's not going to be correct. Right now I have it at 5 megapixels, but the 8 megapixels is going to be incorrect. So other than that, guys, like I said, it's a very nice camera. I think that you guys are going to be, for the most part, very satisfied. And here, as you guys can see, I don't have a lot of light, I would say. It looks like it, but that's because I'm editing the video. So let's go ahead and shoot a picture here, and let's check on this Lambo box. Let's go ahead and open the picture. So here, just want to show you guys, according to how quick I took that photo, this is how the focus looks. So I think, in my opinion, according to how far I am from that box, I think it's doing very, very well. So again, the picture quality is going to be tremendous on this phone. Well, guys, with that being said, the next thing we're going to be checking here is going to be the GPS. The GPS on the road, it was working perfectly well. It was following me flawlessly. I didn't have any cutoffs or any errors as I was driving, something that I've seen sometimes on Chinese devices, especially around this price. The GPS was very crappy. But on this phone, I was impressed to see that out of the box, we don't need to customize it or route it in order to get it working properly. Here from inside of the house, we're going to notice that right now the GPS is going to lock very fast. So far we have 21 satellites. This is amazing because normally here inside of the house I get about 12 to 16 satellites. It's not going to be that much. So right now it is attempting to lock a signal, and it does it within, I would say, 20 to 30 seconds at the most. Right now it took about 10 seconds to lock a signal, and it is working well. And it gets stronger and stronger as I leave this application open. So yes, guys, the GPS is working perfectly well. And as you guys can notice here, let me show you on the app tray. This phone is not rooted right now. I left it the exact same way that it came from factory, so that way you guys can see that I'm not cheating here. Now on the Antutu benchmark test, at first I got a score of about 41,000, but now I got a score of 37,000 after I retested it. That's because the score actually spoofed out. It happens to me on every device that I have, including original ones like the Samsung Galaxy S6. So here, like I said before, guys, after retesting it, I got a lower score this time, and here are all the rankings. Let's go ahead and check them out. And this device was ranked just below the Xiaomi Mi 3. Here on system information, we can see that the brand is the Mlais, the model, the M52. Here we have the Android system. So everything here has been actually quite accurate. Here we have the GPUs, the Mali T760, the same one that we have on the Samsung Galaxy S6. It does very well with gaming. Here we got the processing power. It is the MTK6752, 64 bits. Let's continue going down here. The RAM is going to be 2 gigabytes. The RAM, yes, it's going to be 2 gigabytes. The ROM is going to be 16 gigabytes. And then finally, here we got all the sensors supported. But for that, I like to use this application. It is called Android Sensor Box. Let's go ahead and open it so that way you guys can see everything that we have inside of the system. And right now, the only ones missing is the temperature sensor. We got the gyroscope and also the pressure sensor. Other than that, most sensors are supported on this device. Now here, looking into the app tray, I'm going to navigate you guys through some system applications. We got here the calculator, very standard there. We got the calendar. We do have, I believe we have some FM radio, but we do need the earphones in order to get it functioning well. I never use this feature anyways, but I know that a lot of people actually do use it. Let me see what other applications we got here. We got the gallery, in which all these photos have been provided below. So here, just want to show you guys how it's working. So the only thing I noticed about these pictures is that they're not full screen. They're going to be, I would say, squarish looking, but like I said earlier, guys, the overall quality of the pictures are going to be very, very nice. Okay, so now let's go ahead and check here into settings and see all the languages that we have supported as well. So that way you guys can determine if this phone is going to work for you or not. So it has right now about, I would say, 50 or 48 languages supported, which is very, very important to me. So here we can see, guys, that it is quite a few, and I have to say that for this phone to be supporting 4G LTE and also with 2 gigabytes of RAM and the 720p display, I think that it is definitely worth it. This phone is behaving very, very well. The battery was very impressive as well. Now here, as you guys can see, for the signal reception, every time that I am in this corner of the house with Cricket, it tends to go down a little bit, and it happens with pretty much every device that I have. Right now I am getting 3G on Cricket, and this is the next thing we're going to do. We're going to test the browser, but first we're going to open it here with the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is working perfectly well, as we can tell right there. So here, let's go ahead and open ebay.com, and we're going to see how fast it's going to load. Of course, this is Wi-Fi. Let's try here Tiny Deal. Let me see how fast I can type it. The keyboard is also very sensitive. It doesn't have any mistypes for the most part. I'm looking this through the camera, so that makes it a little bit harder. and here we have the website of tinydo.com. So that was very, very fast. And now let's go ahead and of course turn off the Wi-Fi. And before we do so, here we have some of the toggles supported on the notifications. We do have the battery percentage, we have settings, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, location, airplane mode, data connection, and so on. The brightness right now I have it to the max, and this phone does very well when you are outdoors on the daylight time. So I was impressed to also see that as well. So here, let's go back to the subject and turn off the Wi-Fi. And right now you guys are going to see that the H+ is going to come into play. So here we're going to open youtube.com and test it out, of course. So let me go ahead and complete that for you guys. And of course, after this, we're going to play with some applications and games so that you guys can see the performance of it. So here, YouTube on 3G is opening quite well. Unfortunately, it's not 4G LTE as of right now. Let's go ahead and open here dhgate.com and see how well it's going to open. And right now, I mean, like I said, guys, it's not super fast, but as we can tell, it is not the slowest either. So here right now, it is delaying a little bit. So there we go. It opened up. So yes, guys, the 3G connectivity is working very well on this device. Now, like I said earlier, let's go ahead and test some applications and games that I have downloaded on this device. So make sure you guys enjoy it. there we have concluded the test of this device, and as we can tell, it is performing quite well with the MTK6752 in combination with the 2 GB of RAM that we have inside. I will have to say, guys, that this phone, even though it doesn't have the most appealing design, it has very thick bezels and also it's a very thick device. I will have to say that this phone is definitely recommended by me for those who like playing games and for those who need performance, but at the same time you don't want to break your pocket, and this is something that you guys might want to consider. So here, let's go ahead and test the weight of the device and see how many grams it is. I believe it's going to be around 160 grams because it's not very heavy, I would say. So here we're going to place it on top, and this phone is 170 grams, so it is between, it is not too light and it is not too heavy. Also, like I said earlier, guys, it does support OTG, so if you guys have one of these, you can connect it on the bottom that you can adapt keyboards, mice, accessories like remote controllers and whatnot. So this is very, very cool. Now here, one of the other tests that we're going to complete is the Bluetooth test. So let's go ahead and turn on my little speaker here. Let's place it on pairing mode, and let's go into settings like we always do. Let's go ahead and turn it on. And here, I think I have connected, but for some weird reason, it just deleted it. So let's go ahead and wait here until it pairs. It takes about, I would say the average is between 15 to 20 seconds. And right now it just read the device. So here we're going to tap to it. And the Bluetooth quality on this phone is actually quite good. I already tested it and it was very, very fast. So there we can see that I think it's about to pair. And the pairing has completed already. So of course, now the next thing we're going to do here, guys, is go back once. Let's go into audio profiles. Let's go into settings. Let's go into voice call ringtones, and let's check it out. Alright guys, and there we saw how responsive it is, and now we're going to disconnect from the Bluetooth. So let's go ahead and turn it off. There we go. Let's go ahead and turn off the speaker, and now we're going to go back into settings. Let's go into audio profiles, general, and let's test now the loudspeaker on the bottom. Again, if you place your finger on this side of the speaker, the sound is going to decrease. As you guys can probably hear. But the sound is actually very loud and clear. And it has a little bass to it. Alright guys, and there we can conclude that the sound test and the Bluetooth is working perfectly well on this device. And something that I did forget to mention was about the messaging app. As we can see, it's very simplistic. It's stock Android. Here we have the email application by default, and then the last thing we're going to complete here is a phone call test. So let's go ahead and, okay, now that we have dial 611, let's go ahead and put it on loudspeaker.
Wireless. Let's get started. Press 1 for English. Marca 2 para español.
Very nice and clear. Now we're going to test here the ear speaker. I don't know if you guys heard that, but the ear speaker is also very loud, and I didn't have any trouble whatsoever when I was speaking outside on outdoors. With wind noise, it was also doing very, very well, so I was impressed to see that the ear speaker quality was very nice and, again, very loud. So guys, I think I have concluded the review today of this device, and again, I think that in my personal opinion, this phone is performing quite well for the price. And again, if you guys are looking for something that won't hurt your pocket, something that is affordable, strong enough to play games, and strong enough to support 4G LTE like this phone does in certain countries, and with the MTK6752 Octacore, then this is something that you guys might want to consider. Again, the link has been provided down below together with a coupon code in case you guys are interested in buying this phone. And if you have any questions, please comment down below, like the video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys on my next one.